because BTS RM has recommended it. Hello everyone! From dramas to webtoons to novels, explore Korea's story with us. This is Who Reads Story. My name is An Sung-jin. I'm a news reporter, and today we have Andrea with us. Good to have you back.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Well, nice to meet you for the people that haven't seen me. And then, I'm Andrea. I'm from Colombia, and it's so good to be here with you again.
Right. I feel like with you, Andrea, we've talked a lot about more subtle content like these historical essays or poems, and today we have something a little bit more lighthearted and perhaps a easy read for our viewers, which is I Want to Die, but I Want to Eat Tteokbokki, which already is quite a catchy title and brings a lot of curiosity itself.
Yeah, because you see that it says tteokbokki and maybe you're like, oh, well, maybe about Korean food.
Right.
Yeah, maybe it's about Korean culture, cuisine, but then the first part is I want to die.
Right.
So it's these things together is a kind of contradiction. Okay, this is a hard statement to say, but later it's but still, I want to continue be here in the living realm somehow and eat tteokbokki. So I think that you can expect several things, and maybe some people are going to find it in the book. Maybe some people are going to have other expectations. So yeah, it's good to try and to see how the book it is.
Right, exactly. As you mentioned, I feel like the title itself is already quite eye-grabbing because, as you mentioned, the latter part, I Want to Eat Tteokbokki, might seem just like a classic, I don't know, just Korean essay. Also, not to mention that tteokbokki is my favorite food.
Oh.
But also in the beginning, you have that I want to die. So exactly as you pointed out, it kind of gives that contradiction between the two phrases. This book has gained a lot of popularity in Korea. It's been ranked as a bestseller, but not within Korea only. It has also been translated into multiple languages outside worldwide. It has been 7 years since its publication, and I feel like it's been gaining a lot of fame and popularity because BTS RM has recommended it.
Yeah, well, so this book is by the author Baek Se-hee. She was born in 1990.
Yes.
And then here we have 15 chapters. In these 15 chapters, we can find somehow catchy titles. So My Desire to Become Special isn't special at all, or medication side effects, or I don't look pretty. There are some questions and there are some statements kind of for us to know as readers, okay, this chapter is going to be about this, about that.
Right.
However, if you are expecting this story, kind of with the normal, I don't know,
clear
introduction. Yes, exactly.
Plots.
This is not the book,
right?
Because this one is more like an essay in which she is sharing with the reader 12 sessions that she has with her psychiatrist. Because after she graduated from high school, she was slightly depressed. She has dysthymia, and then she is kind of narrating somehow how were these sessions, what she talked about with the psychiatrist, her own experience. And something that is interesting also in the book is that she asked, obviously, for permission to record the sessions, and then she created the book based on her own experience. And at the end almost of the book, there is just one small part about also the psychiatrist, how was the experience of this person and how was also being recorded. So I think that if maybe you can like it, maybe you cannot, it depends what kind of literature you like. But something that is really good about the book is that you talk about mental health. So in my case, I like the book. It was an interesting reading. Something that is interesting is that somehow when you are reading it, you are kind of feeling, oh, I have thought that, or I have feeling this way, or I know someone that, I don't know, told me that feel like this or like that. And about the structure itself of how you read it, it's pretty easy to read.
Right.
Because you just go through the conversation. It's oh, okay, it was the first day, the second day.
Right.
So it's kind of, I don't remember exactly how many days I spent reading it, but it was less than a week, probably
It's
2
very
or 3 days.
easygoing to read.
Yes.
And I feel like, as you mentioned, because the details can be very vivid and very specific, I think that's why for us as readers, we kind of feel like we're sitting down on the counseling chair, listen to the psychiatrist conversation, and we really understand how this dialogue unfolds just based on how the author expresses it and writes it throughout the book. And obviously, it's not always therapy or these psychiatric visits that really help you pull out from the situation you're at. And I think that's why this book, can be sometimes relatable for the viewers out there or for the readers out there. That's why, the ultimate message of this book isn't just by reading through it, right? It kind of gives you more than that. Now let's look into the title. We've already kind of talked about how these two aspects, the two phrases kind of contradict each other, right? We have the I want to die part, but also the I want to eat tteokbokki part. What did you think about the title when you first read it?
When I first read it, I was like, okay, what is this
What is
about?
this, right?
Yeah, I was like, I don't really understand because I didn't have a background of what the story was about.
Right.
But then when I was reading it, it was easier to understand what she meant with the comment. Because of her situation, her mental situation, like this slightly depression, like on a long time, she have these kind of thoughts.
Right.
But somehow, at the same time, she also wanted to live. Yeah, and then this somehow comfort food, that in this case, like she just represented with the tteokbokki, it was one of the reasons to continue, right?
Right.
So I think that somehow, like with this book, we can see a little bit of this. And I think that this is a specific example, like for her, but somehow I think that sometimes with people that are like in these kind of situations, we find something similar. Sometimes there are even small reasons, like, I don't know, seeing the sunrise every day.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
You see the contradiction between the two phrases, yet at the same time, we also kind of get to look back at it and understand how it's just the small, minuscule things in everyday life that we end up appreciating and finding the will to live. For example, like eating tteokbokki is such an everyday thing. Seeing the sunset is an everyday thing, like you mentioned, but sometimes that becomes the motivation for us to live another day, to push for something else in our daily lives, which is why I guess sometimes this, binary or like dichotomy of viewing the world isn't all that there is out there. And probably that's why maybe the author wanted to include this contradiction onto the title, because it involves both. It, puts both messages out there by saying, yes, you might want to die, but maybe it's the small things that kind of, lift you up at the end of the day. I feel like the author also brings her own anecdote of like personal failure, and that comes out within the appendix of the book. And she brings out this analogy or metaphor to a well, how she talks about, if you're within a dark well, you don't really know that you're there, but you kind of, walk around and you put your hands out there, and then once you walk around, once you do a full lap, that's when you realize that you're within a dark well. Which also means that at the same time, once you experience this personal failure, you deepen your understanding about yourself and you try not to make the same mistake. You try to escape from the dark well or from the same personal failure that you've gone through. Then we've just kind of talked about how the author puts her own bare emotions and feelings out there. So maybe in that sense, it could appeal to a lot of readers in need of that. Who would you recommend this book to?
I think that somehow it can be for everybody.
Everyone, yes.
I think that somehow sometimes you feel that you are the only person that feeling one
like
specific
this.
way,
Yes.
and probably maybe through this book you are going to find that maybe you are not the only
Maybe not,
one.
right.
Yeah, maybe there is another person that share like something like that you are living or that you also like maybe already go through. So I think that anyone can read it, anyone can see if like they like this kind of way of dialogue.
Right.
And also I think that this book somehow is, I don't know, kind of try to support people somehow. It's like she shared her experience also in order like to show that mental health is important.
Right.
And that to talk about that, it's key in nowadays.
Right. That's all we have for today. With Andrea, we've talked about I want to die, but I want to eat tteokbokki. And I guess what I want to tell to our viewers is that, this book isn't about fast pace, easy pace. You get your own pace on reading throughout this book. And we've kind of talked about how, people have the duality. It's about, contradictory coexists.
Yes.
That's all we have for today. Thank you so much, Andrea.
Thank you for inviting me again.
It was nice to have you
Good
talk
to see
about
you.
something light. That's all we have for Who Reads Story today. We will be back with another episode talking about Korean content next week. Thank you and see you next week.